Alright, to start off, we have a volume from the original wave of cartoon classics. This is Volume 7, more of Disney's best, 1932 to 1946, and it contains some pretty solid entries on here. Some of them are actually silly symphonies, including The Old Mill, and you got some solid Mickey cartoons such as Squatter's Rights and The Brave Little Tailor. And the case is in almost near mint condition. It even has the original seal on it, and the original seller just basically cut the seal so that it would stay on the case when you opened it. But unfortunately, the tape arrived in not very good condition. The reels were split, so I had to open the cassette shell itself and tape the reels back together. And unfortunately, it was one of those early to mid 80s shells that was bolted shut, so I had to pry that sucker open. It was not a pleasant morning, let me tell you. But eventually I fixed it, but the tape kind of plays wonky, and the flap does not stay closed, even though I tried everything to keep it closed. This is the 1987 variant of the original video release of Sword in the Stone. Sword in the Stone debuted in the Classics line in March 1986. The second variant was released in October 1986, and this variant was released in October 1987. The difference here is the heading. It's been changed to Walt Disney's. The original said Disney's. And also, on the bottom, the mention of it being in VHS or beta has been removed. The little VHS tag on the bottom, it's not on the cover artwork anymore. The tape label isn't really different. In fact, it retains the Disney's heading. But the real reason I snatched up this tape, and check this out, the print date is 6/26/87, and there's a little spelling error there, Sword in the Stone. But one of the reasons I got this tape was not only because previously I didn't have that variant of Sword in the Stone, but because it had holiday 1987 leaflets, including a video catalog announcing the video premiere of Lady and the Tramp, and all the other stuff that was available around it, and all the other videos in Disney's major holiday campaign that was built around the release of Lady and the Tramp. It was very similar to the 1986 one, which was built around Sleeping Beauty's video premiere. All the various volumes here, the second wave of cartoon classics, as you can see on the left there. Winnie the Pooh featurettes before the mini classics line was started in 1988. Some sing-along songs volumes. Offers such as clip show VHSs, and this is a leaflet advertising the final theatrical re-release of Cinderella, the final American theatrical re-release of the movie, which was in fall 1987. It even has the exact release date on there, November 20th, 1987. And judging by what you see on the right there, it looks like it was torn off of the next piece, the next leaflet that I'm showing here. It looks like it was part of this. It looks like one of those business reply cards, but I don't think it is. Just basically a sort of thing saying like, hey, look what's inside. But yeah, I finally have that variant of the Sword in the Stone in my collection, and see the differences there. That's the October 86 variant with the Disney's heading and the VHS tag at the very bottom of the artwork. Here is the demo tape of The Little Mermaid, and oddly enough, even though Disney stopped putting that little VHS tag on the bottom of cover artwork, for some reason the demo tape of The Little Mermaid has it down there. And the biggest difference is the spine artwork is completely different, and there's a pretty good sized difference with the back artwork, the reverse cover artwork. The lobster drummer there was replaced with Sebastian on the released version. I'm showing them side by side there. As you can see, they replaced the lobster with Sebastian. I like the spine artwork on the demo tape more than the demo cover more than I do the released cover. And what's also strange about the demo tape is that, the demo tape jacket is that it has a barcode on the back. The demo tape packages usually did not have those because they were not meant for sale or rental, as the labels make clear. Like the labels make it very clear they're not for sale or rental. Here is the French-Canadian VHS of Dumbo. This is the 1989 cover artwork. and the tape inside uses the 87-88 era label, so it's not It doesn't use the font that you see on the front cover, and the tape also opens with the very low-budget Classics logo, the 1984 Classics logo. Yep, as you can see there's the label. It has a rating certificate plastered on there. Below Dumbo, it says de Disney. It's similar to the heading of my French-Canadian Sword in the Stone VHS, where it says Merlin l'Enchanteur de Disney, instead of a heading where it says like a Walt Disney Classic or something. It's just de Disney, of Disney. It's unusual. Dumbo of Disney. Here is the French-Canadian VHS of Bambi. This was released in 1989 alongside the American one. The French-Canadian releases were pretty much the same as the American ones, just with the language differences and the diamond saying Les Classiques instead of The Classics. And of course the heading being different. For a film like Bambi, because, Bambi's a title that you don't have to translate for other countries, they just basically put like a little blurb below that says version française. I'm sorry, I'm very bad at French, please forgive me. I actually had to glue the top half of the label back on because it was halfway off. A lot of the labels that Disney made for their VHS tapes at the time and their beta tapes were faulty. They often peeled off over time. I've had that problem many times before. Not the first, certainly not the last. Here is a French-Canadian VHS release of Alice in Wonderland. This one's a bit of an amalgamation of the different Alice covers and variants in the US. As you can see, if you're a seasoned collector, you'll know what I'm talking about when you see everything I'm showing you here. It has like an early 90s heading, but it has the spine layout of a mid-80s release, although the tape label itself is an ink label. So basically it's kind of a combination of early 90s variants and mid to late 80s variants. The tape opens with the 1984 Flipping Text Classics logo, so they didn't update the master. And I think there were ink label variants here in the States that didn't have an updated master either, not until much later when they just started randomly showing up. And here we got both Rescuers movies in French-Canadian. Rescuers VHS release being from 1992, and the Rescuers Down Under VHS release being from 1991. Interestingly, the cover for Rescuers refers to it as just Bernard et Bianca, when the full French title of the movie is Les Aventures de Bernard et Bianca. Again, please forgive me, I am horrible at French because I never learned it, but basically the French title translates roughly into English as The Adventures of Bernard and Bianca. But for some reason, the tape just says Bernard and Bianca in French. I think that's kind of strange, but whatever. I guess they couldn't fit it, or maybe they didn't want to. And of course, here is the Rescuers Down Under, but in French, it's Bernard et Bianca in Australia. And of course, by this time, the diamond would just say Les Classiques. They wouldn't have the Walt Disney Home Video thing under the Classics text, or Classiques text. And again, not much is different here. This is a sticker label variant, a vertical sticker label. It's very nice. Look at the pattern on the tape shell itself. I mean, I haven't seen that. I've never seen that on a VHS tape before. Just those straight lines, no grid, no, X's or anything.
And I reorganized my Disney VHS collection yet again. I'm just going to show you that very briefly. I moved a few things, and I figured if you saw the last update video, the top of my big bookshelf here is like a showcase for items that I consider like the best in my collection. Like a box set right there, 1986 box set, the original sale-only video releases of Dumbo and Alice in Wonderland, a ton of demo tapes and some foreign language editions, and Pixar's resume tape there. And the in-store loop tape of previews of what was available on Walt Disney Home Video in 1992, all my Classics editions, followed by non-Classics editions, cartoon classics, featurettes, things like DTV, and then live-action movies, a couple select live-action classics, and then the Walt Disney Masterpiece Collection, then the Gold Classic Collection. And then I want to show you briefly what I put over here on the other side of my art desk. So originally this had random titles in it, but I decided to make room for my French-Canadian and US Spanish language tapes. So I moved some of the titles that were in this box up here, along with some cardboard slipcover cases that I don't have room for, and tapes I've had since I was a kid that didn't have cases, like the cases got lost over time. And then some various Betamax tapes, and then some Classics variants. The rest that I couldn't make room for, they're all in this box, all just a bunch of random titles there, a lot of them on beta. A lot of VHS tapes on the bottom of these stacks too. Just an example there. Extra copies and such. Nothing too major though.